DownSize LLC presents Capturing the Market of the Downsizing Homeowner. Here's Cabot Ray and the founder and CEO of DownSize LLC, Kathy Cairo.
Well, Kathy, you know, I am at this age, a lot of baby boomers are, where they say they're not retiring, but they're rewiring their lives a little bit. And a part of that...
I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, well, I stole it. But so this is a perfect idea, perfect concept for those of us who are getting ready to make that change. So how did you get this idea for DownSize Columbus?
Well, Cabot, I did seminars. The basis of my business for years has been seminars. I'm a teacher at heart, and so I have done home buyer and home seller seminars for years. Well, here in Central Ohio, we went through a recession from about 2005 to 2012. And I began thinking, I thought, you know, I bet there are a lot of homeowners who have not wanted to sell their home because of the values of homes declining. But as the market comes back, you know, the economy might slow us down, but age doesn't.
It doesn't, yeah.
Unfortunately, during the recession, we all got older.
Kept moving ahead, yeah.
And so I began thinking, I bet there's homeowners who need to downsize and have put off doing it. Let's do a seminar just for that group. And that's how DownSize Columbus was born.
And you kind of had this idea in a Panera. You were saying over a cup of Joe, it suddenly hit you. This is an idea. This is a market that's underserved, really.
It was one of those, literally on a napkin ideas. I thought, I was talking to a colleague, and I said, what if we did a seminar just for those downsizers? But Cabot, I naively at that point, this is 2012, I naively thought that the downsizers' real problem was selling their home, and I was to learn that that was not the case at all.
It was much deeper than just selling the home, probably. Now, tell me, what is the history? Again, you said 2012, you came up with this idea late.
Right.
So when did you actually get it off the ground?
Well, we decided to try to launch this idea in the spring of 2013. And as we kind of discussed this idea, we began seeing, you know what, if you picture downsizing as a puzzle, if anyone's ever put together a jigsaw puzzle, you start with the easy pieces, all the edge pieces, and get those together, and then you go for the middle. Well, I started asking myself, what are those edge pieces? What are the things that you put together first before you sell your home? And why don't we have all of those people at the DownSize event? So on that same napkin, we began making a list of everyone who could possibly help this over 55 demographic who wish to sell their homes. And we thought, well, they need movers, they need stagers, they need organizers, they need title. Well, they're going to need legal help, they're going to need financial help. So we began saying, okay, what if this seminar included all of these people, and all of a sudden it was a wedding?
Yeah.
All of a sudden it wasn't just a seminar. It
Right.
was, oh my gosh, then we need food, and then we need centerpieces. And so this event started growing, but we launched it. Our first event we did in the spring of 2013.
Like a wedding minus the $10 a glass punch cost.
Well, it wasn't quite $10,
but you made a commitment financially to get it off the ground.
We did, and you know, it was funny because I've been a realtor in Columbus for many years, but this idea was brand new. And nobody had ever done it, and I don't think anybody, I was on the phone, borrowing, hoping vendors would hop on board with me, and I was saying essentially, look, give me your money and trust me that people will show up. And so our first event, we spent, I think, $20,000 on advertising, and honest, Cabot, I was literally on my knees praying. I didn't know if 10 people would show up or nobody. And so we began advertising on a top radio station. We bought some television advertising. We rented, at that point, the largest venue we could find, which was about 200 people. And I thought, gosh, I hope 10 show up or 20. And do you know, when the ads started running, and we bought, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, we bought 8 weeks worth of advertising. We sold out in 8 days. And I thought, oh my gosh, now we have.
Can I get my money back for the rest of that advertising?
Well, no, then I thought, we have a different problem.
Yeah.
Now we have 6 more weeks of advertising and no more room.
Right.
So we added, that first year, we added a second downsize. That filled up. We added a third downsize. And remember, I'm a realtor. I've got to sell houses for a living. So we did the first in March, we added in April, we added a May, and then we all said, we just need to get back to work. But what it taught me was there is a need, and we stumbled across a great idea. And that's how DownSize was born.
Right. And this audience, why is this audience so valuable to realtors?
Oh my gosh. Do you know, Cabot, over 9,000 Americans a day are turning 55. And of those 9,000 Americans, 81% of them own homes. And so as a realtor, when you begin looking at the viability of that group, and here's another statistic that my realtor friends will get, most of those people have owned their homes for 12 years or longer. 12 is average, but what we're finding is many have owned their home for 20, 30, even 40 years. Do you think they're in contact with the realtor that sold them the home? I don't have to. My realtor friends who are listening are shaking their head because we know that as realtors, most of us are not good at following up with this group. So here you have a group of homeowners who have come into the room. I call it self-selecting. They have come into your seminar. They are essentially raising their hand saying, I am eventually going to need to sell a home. 81% of them are. And you know what? I don't even remember my realtor's name. So when you stand up in front of this group, it is essentially a mass listing presentation. You are saying, not only am I a realtor, but I specialize in you. I specialize in bringing this group together to sell your home.
In terms of business profitability, how important is this group to realtors and people in your business?
Well, as anyone knows, and you know, one of the reasons, if we back up and ask why there is a mortgage deduction on our for taxes on our homes, it's because at some point the federal government realized if we can get people to buy homes, it stimulates the economy in 20, 30 different areas. Well, it's the same thing when you sell a home. All of the hands that need to come together, it takes a village to sell a home, and especially a downsizer. When you look at all of the arms that go into this pot of helping someone, when someone needs to sell a home, many times they need home repairs because they haven't done that in a long time. They need to sell things, so that brings in auction houses and online services. Many times they need organizers to help them organize what they're going to sell. They need movers to help them move things. And then, you know, when you put that home on the market, then you bring buyers in, more buyers who are then turning around and stimulating the economy with that purchase. So the people I bring into this room for DownSize Columbus, they all are looking at a group of people who are going to need their services. And this group, again, one of the things I love about us, our age group, I always say we straddle the internet, meaning that we were raised without the internet. We were raised on business with a handshake, business with relationship, but we also get the value of the internet. So this group is great because they're very internet savvy. Over 95% of them have email addresses and are very web active, but at the same time, they love meeting you, looking in your face, taking your business card, shaking your hand. They are a great referral. They love that you were referred to them by Kathy Cairo from DownSize Columbus. So it is a group ready-made to A, spend money, and B, spend it with colleagues they trust.
And an important concept of this whole DownSize Columbus is the fact that it's about the total person that you're dealing with also. You know, it's not just, you know, sign this paper, let's get this house ready. But for them, it can be a tough choice to decide to transition out.
Oh my gosh. You know, I always say that every move before this one is a move up the ladder. And it's exciting. You've done it. You raise kids, you start in the small house, you go to the next big house, you go to the third house, and then you raise your kids there, you stay 20 years. This is the one move that most people don't want to make, and we recognize that. This is the move that someone is telling them they need to do. Their spouse, their doctors, their kids, someone is saying, Mom and Dad, you need to get out of this house. And so for the first time, that Christmas tree that has followed them from the apartment can't go because it's too tall for the next place they're going. And many times it is not just the move, it is everything that comes with the move. It is overwhelming to decide when it brings in medical issues, legal issues, financial issues, emotional issues, and then the sale of the house.
Right.
So what happens with many in this group is they freeze. They say, I can't, I'm so afraid of making a mistake.
Right.
My kids live out of state. They love me but can't help. My spouse died or is disabled. And all of a sudden they're faced with a lot of decisions and they simply freeze because they don't have the ability to move forward. So DownSize Columbus steps in and says, look, we're going to bring all these tools together. We're going to recognize that it is difficult. You aren't crazy.
Yeah.
This is a tough decision. Let us help you.
With me, it was a 5-foot-tall singing Santa that I finally had to get rid of as we moved.
And it was hard.
There was no place for him. You know, so
and it was hard.
It was hard, and that's why you need people that have a heart, that are working within DownSize Columbus, that understand. They see what you're dealing with, and can kind of help them through the process emotionally as a part of, obviously, of what you're doing here. So, how much does it cost for those who are willing to maybe take a chance at a similar seminar in their city? How much does it cost to put on an event like DownSize Columbus?
It is, well, here's the thing, and Kevin, I'm going to go backwards and come forwards on that answer. Imitation being the sincerest form of flattery, we have been imitated all over our city. Once we started doing it, everybody started their own little downsizing things, but they would do it with a flyer in the library and hope a few people came. The first thing I say is, if nobody's doing it in your community, and I doubt they are, because when we Googled it, we found nobody was doing it across the country, which is why we began thinking, this is a gold mine. Columbus, Ohio is not the only place people are turning 55.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us across the country and in every city. So we began saying, how can we make a seminar in a box? How can we make this viable for our realtor partners across the city? And the first thing I would say is, if you're going to enter the market, you have to enter the market big. You have to be the elephant in the room that nobody's going to compete with. So it's not cheap. And I'm going to say the number, but then my realtor colleagues don't run away, because I'm going to show you how it doesn't cost you a dime. It cost us about $30,000 to $35,000 to put on every event. The bulk of that is the advertising it takes to get people there. It is also committing to the venue that we're going to do it, that sort of thing. However, the magic in this is, remember all those partners I told you that contribute to
all
this?
The vendors and so
Absolutely. They'll pay you to be a part of this event. So what we train our realtors to do is to go to each of those vendors, and over the years we've tweaked our idea to the point that now we have 9 presenters in our 5 expert categories. And those 5 categories are medical, financial, legal, emotional, and residential. We've gotten the top experts in the city in each of those categories. They stand before this group and give a presentation. We charge them to be presenters. In addition to that, we are now to the point we have 25 vendors who are there. They all have products or services that cater to this group. They pay us a lesser amount to be there. It's almost a smaller trade show format. So at the end of the day, the event costs you nothing. Your work is procuring the vendors, procuring the presenters, putting them in front of an audience which says, these people are here to buy your products, and then the event doesn't cost you anything. We are to the point with DownSize Columbus in year 4, we're making money on the event. The event itself not only brings us 300 homeowners who need to sell their homes, but we are now making money on the event.
Definitely a win-win there.
It is.
So it's a great model for other cities across the country, it appears. So how can you help other realtors, again, with if they want to get something like this off the ground? How do you help them?
Well, what I'm going to do, and the reason for this video is because we have had realtors literally call us from across the country. They have Googled us and they have found us and they said, wow, we see what you're doing in Columbus, Ohio. How can we do it here? So we sat down with my DownSize Columbus team and we said, how can we package a seminar in a box? How can we partner with these realtors and show them how to be successful in Phoenix and Tampa and Indianapolis Indianapolis and Baltimore and across the country. And what we've done is come up with a system and training that we will come to you and train you to do this, show you how you can partner, and then you can be profitable in your city. And let me tell you, Cabot, it is profitable. DownSize Columbus, as a realtor, DownSize Columbus alone is a six-figure income for the Kathy Cairo Group at this point. And so all of the realtors, I talk to my colleagues out there, if you want a niche, that isn't going to go away for 20 plus years, you need to plug into those downsizing homeowners and do it right, do it big, and partner with us. We'll show you how to do it.
For more information on how you can present a downsizing seminar in your community, contact DownSize LLC at 614-944-5999.